There is something stirring in the heavens. There is a great move about to take place. Some of you listening today have been struggling, praying, and waiting, wondering when the promises will come to pass. You have been walking through trials, through fire, through storms that seem unrelenting. And you have asked, Lord, where are you? Have you forgotten me? Have you turned your face from me? But I have come to tell you today that when something big is about to happen in your life, there are signs, clear, unmistakable signs that God is at work, preparing, refining, shifting things into place. Some of you are on the very edge of your breakthrough, standing at the border of the promised land, but all you can see are the giants in front of you. You see the opposition. You see the closed doors, you see the delays, and you think that must mean God has abandoned the plan. But hear me today. When God is about to do something big, the battle will intensify. When God is about to pour out a blessing, the enemy will send every distraction, every temptation, every discouragement your way to make you doubt. But that is not the time to give up. That is not the time to retreat. That is the time to stand firm, to press in, to trust that the one who started the work in you is faithful to complete it. Do you remember Joseph? A young man with a dream, a vision given by God. He saw his future. He saw what God had in store. But what happened? He was betrayed, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned. Everything in his life seemed to move in the opposite direction of the promise. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever stood in a moment where everything in your life seemed to contradict the word God gave you? But listen, Joseph did not give up. He remained faithful, and when the time was right, in one day, he went from the prison to the palace. That is the power of God. When He is about to bless you, when He is about to promote you, when He is about to elevate you, the enemy will do everything he can to make you quit. But I tell you today, hold on. Hold on to His word. Hold on to His promise. Hold on to your faith. When something big is coming, then God will take you through a season of testing. The children of Israel walked through the wilderness before entering the promised land. David faced years of running from Saul before he sat on the throne. Jesus himself went through the wilderness, fasting for 40 days before stepping fully into his ministry. Testing is not punishment, it is preparation. It is in the waiting, in the refining, in the stretching that your character is built, that your faith is strengthened, that you are made ready for what God has in store. Have you ever wondered why God allows the trials, why He permits the waiting? My friends, God is more interested in shaping you than in simply delivering you. He is more concerned with molding your heart than with granting your request. Because if He gave you the blessing before you were ready, it would destroy you instead of elevate you. He is a good father, and a good father does not give the keys to a car to a child who does not yet know how to drive. He does not place a crown on the head of one who has not yet learned how to serve. Before the blessing comes, there is always a season of preparation. And some of you are there now. You are in the waiting, you are in the stretching, you are in the pressing, and you feel weary, you feel forgotten. But I tell you today, God is watching. He is refining. He is preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. The delay is not a denial. The wait is not wasted time. The silence does not mean He has forgotten you. He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating things you cannot yet see. Some of you are looking for the answer, but you do not see it yet. You are praying, but nothing seems to shift. But let me tell you, the cloud is forming. The breakthrough is near. You may not see it yet, but God is moving. When God is about to bless you, He will remove some people from your life. Some relationships will fall away. Some friendships will end. And you may not understand why, but God sees what you do not see. He knows the hearts of men. He knows who is for you and who is against you. He knows who will support you and who will betray you. And so He prunes, He cuts away, He separates, so that when He blesses you, the wrong people are not there to corrupt the blessing. Do not fight the pruning. Do not try to hold on to what God is trying to remove. Trust that He knows what He's doing. When something big is coming, God will stretch your faith. He will ask you to believe beyond what makes sense. He will ask you to step out of the boat like Peter and walk on the water. He will ask you to build an ark like Noah, even when there is no sign of rain. He will ask you to lift up your staff like Moses and stretch it over the sea. Faith does not wait for everything to make sense. Faith does not wait for every detail to be clear. Faith obeys, faith trusts, faith moves forward even when the path is not yet visible. Some of you are waiting for God to show you the whole picture before you take the first step. But that is not how faith works. He will not give you the entire map. He will give you just enough light for the next step. And when you take that step, He will reveal the next. Step by step, faith by faith, He will lead you, but you must be willing to move. You must be willing to trust. And I tell you today, something big is coming. Some of you have been waiting for years. You have sown in tears. You have labored in faith. You have prayed without ceasing. And you have wondered if the promise would ever come to pass. But I tell you, the appointed time is near. And before it happens, you will see the signs. The battle will intensify, the testing will increase, the pruning will come, the stretching will be great, but do not be discouraged. Do not lose heart, because these are not signs of defeat. These are signs that the promise is at the door. And yet, in the midst of this expectation, there is also confusion. Because right now, your life may not look like something big is about to happen. In fact, everything around you may seem like it's falling apart. You've been walking through trials, through suffering, through disappointments. You've prayed prayers that seem to go unanswered. You've believed for miracles, but all you've seen are setbacks. You've asked God for open doors, but it seems like every door is closing. And in the quietness of your heart, you've wondered, Lord, where are you? Did I hear you correctly? Did I misunderstand the promise? Why does it seem like everything is going wrong just when I thought I was getting closer to my breakthrough? But hear me today, this is not a sign that God has abandoned you. This is a sign that He is working. Because before every great move of God, there is a season of testing. Before every elevation, there is a time of shaking. Before every blessing, there is a refining. The enemy knows what is coming, and he will try everything in his power to stop you before you reach it. Look at the pattern in Scripture. Every time God was about to do something incredible, the enemy fought fiercely to prevent it. Before the deliverance of Israel, Pharaoh increased the oppression. Before David took the throne, Saul tried to kill him. Before Jesus stepped into His public ministry, He was led into the wilderness to be tested. My friends, do you see it? The opposition, the hardship, the trials, they are not random. They are evidence that you are close to something greater. If you weren't a threat to the enemy's plans, he wouldn't bother with you. If you weren't carrying something powerful, he wouldn't attack you. But because you have a destiny, because there is a divine appointment over your life, because there is something great in your future, the battle has intensified. I want you to imagine for a moment a woman about to give birth. The months leading up to that moment have been full of preparation, full of expectation. But when the time comes, the pain increases, the labor intensifies, the contractions become unbearable. And just before the birth, there is a moment where it seems almost impossible to push through. That is when she must gather all her strength, because she is seconds away from seeing the promise come to life. That is where some of you are right now. You are in the final stretch before the breakthrough. You are in the last moments before the birth of the promise. And the pain has increased. The pressure is greater than ever. But don't give up now. Don't walk away now. You are too close to the fulfillment of what God has spoken over your life. The enemy would love nothing more than for you to throw in the towel. He would love nothing more than for you to quit, to let go, to turn your back just before the blessing arrives. But I tell you today, stand firm, press on. The opposition is not a sign that God has abandoned you. It is a sign that He is about to do something big. When Jesus was crucified, the enemy thought he had won. The disciples were scattered, the crowds were silent, and darkness covered the land. But what the enemy did not understand was that Sunday was coming. What looked like defeat was actually the greatest victory. What seemed like the end was only the beginning. And I want to tell you today, your story is not over. Your breakthrough is on the way. The shaking you feel, the battle you are facing, the storm that seems relentless, it is not there to destroy you. It is there to prepare you, because God is getting ready to release something big into your life. And when it comes, you will see that every tear, every trial, every moment of waiting was not wasted. Everything in your logical mind is telling you it's not going to happen. I must have heard God wrong. Maybe this isn't for me. But hear me today. When God is about to do something big in your life, when He is about to pour out His blessing, when He is about to fulfill His promise, you will always face opposition. The enemy will not sit idly by while you step into your destiny. He will send distractions, delays, discouragement, anything he can to make you turn back before you reach what God has for you. That is exactly what happened to the Israelites. They had been delivered from Egypt by the mighty hand of God. They had seen the Red Sea parted before their very eyes. They had been led by a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. They had seen miracle after miracle, provision after provision, and yet, when they stood on the border of their promised land, they were filled with fear. 12 spies went in to scout the land. And what did they see? They saw a land flowing with milk and honey. They saw the fruitfulness. They saw the abundance. But 10 of the spies could only focus on one thing, the giants. We are like grasshoppers in our own sight, they said. We cannot go up against them. They looked at the opposition, and instead of trusting the God who had already brought them so far, they allowed fear to paralyze them. And because of their fear, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Not because God had abandoned them, not because the promise wasn't real, but because they refused to step into it. How many of us today are standing at the edge of what God has promised, but we are too afraid to move forward? We see the giants, we see the battles, we see the opposition, and we shrink back. But listen to me. Whenever God is about to do something big in your life, the battle will intensify, not to destroy you, but to prepare you. You see, the giants weren't there to keep the Israelites out. The giants were there to prove that God was greater. The walls of Jericho weren't there to stop them. They were there to showcase the power of God to tear them down. The Red Sea wasn't an obstacle. It was an opportunity for God to demonstrate His might. And today some of you are looking at your situation, and all you can see are the giants. All you can see are the impossibilities. All you can see are the roadblocks. But I tell you, the very thing standing in your way is the thing God will use to show His power in your life. David saw a giant named Goliath, but instead of seeing an obstacle, he saw an opportunity. He didn't run away. He didn't cower in fear like the rest of Israel's army. He stepped forward, not with a sword, not with armor, not with military training, but with faith. You come against me with a sword and a spear, he said, but I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts. And with a single stone, he brought down the giant. What is the giant in your life today? What is the thing that is standing between you and the promise of God? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it discouragement? Is it the voices of others telling you it can't be done? Whatever it is, I tell you today, do not let it stop you. Because if the enemy is fighting you this hard, it means you are close. He wouldn't be attacking you if you weren't a threat. He wouldn't be trying to discourage you if you weren't on the verge of something great. You see, the enemy doesn't fight people who are doing nothing. He doesn't waste his time on those who have no purpose. He attacks those who are stepping into something bigger. He attacks those who have a calling on their life. He attacks those who are about to see the fulfillment of God's promise. And if you are feeling the weight of the battle today, I want you to lift up your head, because the battle is not a sign of defeat, it is a sign of breakthrough. The opposition is not a sign that God has left you, it is a sign that He is with you, that He is preparing you, that He is getting ready to take you to the next level. Jesus told His disciples, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. The trials will come, the challenges will arise, but you are not alone. The same God who parted the Red Sea, the same God who brought down the walls of Jericho, the same God who empowered David to slay Goliath, that same God is fighting for you. So do not be afraid. Do not shrink back. Do not let the enemy intimidate you into giving up, because what is on the other side of this battle is greater than anything you could imagine. The giants may be big, but your God is bigger. The opposition may be fierce, but your God is stronger. The battle may be intense, but the victory is already won. This is not the time to give up. This is not the time to turn back. This is the time to press forward, to stand firm, to declare with boldness, if God is for me, who can be against me? When something big is coming, God will take you through a season of testing. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. And the testing is not because He is punishing you. It is not because He has forgotten you. It is because He is preparing you. Think about this. Before God entrusts you with something great, He has to make sure you are ready to carry it. He has to refine your character. He has to strengthen your faith. He has to remove anything in you that would cause you to mishandle the blessing when it arrives. And that is why some of you are in the fire right now. You are going through trials that seem unbearable. You are facing battles you never expected. You are walking through a wilderness that seems endless. And you are wondering, Lord, why is this happening? Why am I facing so much opposition? Why does it seem like every step forward is met with resistance? But hear me today. This is not to destroy you. This is to shape you. This is to prepare you for what is coming. Because God never elevates without refining. He never promotes without testing. He never increases without first proving that you can handle the weight of the blessing. Think about the greatest men and women in Scripture. Every single one of them went through a season of testing before they stepped into their calling. Joseph had a dream as a young man. God gave him a vision of his future, a promise that he would be elevated, that he would be in a position of great authority. But what happened next? Did he immediately step into the palace? No, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. Everything in his life seemed to move in the opposite direction of the promise. Can you imagine what that must have felt like? Can you imagine the confusion, the heartache, the frustration? God, I thought you said I was going to be a leader. I thought you said you had something great for me. Why am I in a prison cell? But what Joseph did not know was that the prison was his preparation. The hardship was his training ground. The trials were not a detour, they were the path to his destiny. Because in one single day, in one divine moment, he went from the prison to the palace. That is how God works. When you are in the season of testing, it may feel like you are moving away from the promise. It may feel like nothing is happening, but God is working behind the scenes. He is aligning things. He is orchestrating circumstances. And when the time is right, the door will open and you will see that every trial, every tear, every moment of waiting was not wasted. Look at Moses. He was called to be a deliverer, but before he could lead Israel out of Egypt, he spent 40 years in the wilderness. 40 years in obscurity, 40 years of tending sheep, 40 years of being prepared. And when the time was right, God spoke to him from the burning bush and said, "Now is the time." David was anointed as king when he was just a boy. Samuel poured the oil over his head, declaring that he was chosen by God. But did he sit on the throne the next day? No. He spent years running from Saul, hiding in caves, facing battle after battle. Why? Because God was preparing him. Because a king is not made in a moment. A king is forged through trials. Jesus himself went through a season of testing before stepping into his ministry. He was led by the Spirit into the wilderness where he fasted for 40 days and was tempted by the devil. Why? Because he was about to step into something great, because before the miracles, before the crowds, before the cross, there was a season of preparation. And if Jesus had to go through the wilderness, why do we think we won't? If Joseph had to endure the pit and the prison, why do we think we will reach our promise without testing? If David had to walk through battle after battle before the crown was placed on his head, why do we think we can step into our calling without refining? The season of testing is not comfortable, it is not easy, but it is necessary, because God is not just interested in giving you a blessing, He is interested in making sure you are ready for it. You see, an unprepared blessing can be a curse. If God gives you something before you are ready, it can destroy you. It can ruin you. It can lead you away from Him instead of drawing you closer. That is why He allows the testing. That is why He allows the waiting, because He is not just blessing you for a moment, He is establishing you for a lifetime. And right now, some of you are in the waiting, you are in the stretching, you are in the pressing, and you feel weary, you feel forgotten. But I tell you today, God is watching. He is refining. He is preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. The delay is not a denial. The waiting is not wasted. The silence does not mean He has forgotten you. He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating things you cannot yet see. Think about an athlete training for the Olympics. He doesn't just show up on race day and expect to win. No! He trains for years. He endures grueling workouts, painful setbacks, long hours of preparation. Why? Because he knows that the prize is worth the pain. He knows that the testing is necessary to achieve victory. And if earthly athletes are willing to endure such hardship for a temporary crown, how much more should we endure for the eternal purposes of God? My friends, do not despise the process. Do not grow weary in the waiting. Because when God is about to do something big, He will take you through the fire, not to burn you, but to refine you, not to break you, but to strengthen you. The enemy wants you to give up in the testing. He wants you to think that the delay means the promise is dead. He wants you to believe that the waiting means God has changed His mind. But I tell you today, hold on, do not give up, because what is coming is worth it. What God is preparing for you is greater than you could ever imagine. When the time is right, the doors will open. When the time is right, the promise will come to pass. When the time is right, you will look back and see that every moment in the wilderness was worth it. When God is about to do something big in your life, the people around you will change. Some will walk away, some will turn against you, some will misunderstand you, and some will try to hold you back. This is one of the most painful parts of stepping into your calling, because when God elevates you, not everyone can go with you. When He begins to move in your life, not everyone will celebrate it. When He starts shifting you into a new season, some people you thought would always be there will distance themselves. And in that moment you will be tempted to ask, Lord, why? Why is this happening? Why are people turning against me? Why do I feel so alone? But hear me today. This is not a sign that something is wrong. This is a sign that God is taking you higher. Look at the life of Jesus. He started his ministry with crowds pressing in to see him, people marveling at his miracles, multitudes hanging on his every word. But the closer he got to fulfilling his purpose, the smaller the crowd became. At the Last Supper, he sat with 12. In the Garden of Gethsemane, only 3 went further with him, and at the cross, only John remained. The closer you get to your calling, the smaller the crowd will be. Because not everyone can handle where God is taking you. Not everyone can walk at the level God is calling you to. Some people were meant to be with you for a season, but not for the whole journey. Some were there to help you in one chapter, but they are not meant to go with you into the next. And if you try to hold on to everyone, if you try to drag people with you who are not meant to go, you will only slow yourself down. You will only hinder what God is trying to do. Look at Abraham. God told him, leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. But what did Abraham do? He took his nephew Lot with him, and what happened? Strife, conflict, division. Lot was never meant to go with Abraham, and it wasn't until they separated that Abraham stepped into the fullness of what God had for him. And some of you are in a place right now where God is telling you to move forward, but you are trying to bring people with you who were never meant to go. You are holding on to relationships that are holding you back. You are clinging to connections that are no longer aligned with your destiny. And because of that, you are experiencing conflict. You are feeling resistance. You are wondering why things feel so heavy, why you feel stuck, why you can't seem to move forward. But could it be that God is asking you to let go? Could it be that He is trying to separate you from something or someone who is not meant to go where He is leading you? Joseph had a dream. God showed him a vision of his future. But when he shared that dream with his brothers, they hated him for it. They mocked him. They plotted against him. They sold him into slavery. And some of you have experienced this firsthand. You've shared your dreams. You've shared your vision. And instead of encouragement, you've faced criticism. Instead of support, you've been met with jealousy. Instead of being lifted up, you've been torn down. But listen to me. Do not be discouraged, because sometimes rejection is God's protection. Sometimes the people who leave you are actually making room for the right people to come. Sometimes the betrayal, the loss, the separation, it is all part of God's plan to position you where you need to be. Joseph's brothers thought they were destroying him, but in reality they were setting him up for his destiny. They thought they were getting rid of him, but they were actually pushing him closer to the palace. And today some of you are mourning relationships that ended, friendships that fell apart, people who walked away. But what if I told you that their departure was a divine setup? What if I told you that their rejection was actually a redirection? What if I told you that God is using that very pain to push you into purpose? You see, when God begins to elevate you, He will also begin to separate you. Not because He wants you to be alone, not because He wants you to suffer, but because He knows that where He is taking you requires a different level of faith, a different level of focus, a different level of obedience. The higher an eagle flies, the fewer birds it sees. The higher you go, the fewer people will be able to go with you. And that's okay. That's not rejection, it's preparation. Jesus said, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. There are some things you cannot take into your next season. There are some relationships you cannot carry with you. There are some people who were part of your past, but are not meant to be part of your future. And today I want you to take heart. I want you to trust that if God allowed someone to walk away, it is because He has something better ahead. If He allowed a relationship to end, it is because He has something greater in store. He is pruning you. He is refining you. He is aligning you with the right people, the right connections, the right opportunities. And if you will trust Him, if you will surrender, if you will stop looking back and start moving forward, you will see that everything He removed was making room for something greater. So don't be discouraged when people walk away. Don't be afraid when relationships shift, because what is coming is bigger than what was lost. What God has ahead is greater than what is behind. And when you step into the fullness of His promise, when you see what He was preparing you for all along, you will understand why some people couldn't stay. You will understand why some relationships had to end. You will understand why the separation was necessary, because He is taking you somewhere higher, and not everyone can go where you are going. And so, my friend, I ask you today, can you see it? Can you recognize the signs? Can you sense what God is doing in your life? You have faced the battle and it has been fierce. You have endured the testing and it has been long. You have watched people walk away and it has been painful. But I tell you, do not grow weary. Do not lose heart. Do not turn back now, because everything you have walked through has been leading you to this moment. Every trial, every hardship, every delay, it was not meant to break you, but to build you. It was not meant to defeat you, but to prepare you. It was not meant to destroy you, but to position you for what is coming. The enemy wanted you to give up. He wanted you to quit before you reach the promise. But you are still here. You are still standing. And that is proof that God's hand is on your life. That is proof that He is not finished with you yet, because what is ahead of you is greater than what is behind you. What He is about to release into your life is bigger than anything you have seen before. And the question is, will you trust Him? Will you keep walking even when you cannot see the full picture? Will you keep believing even when the journey feels uncertain? Will you stand firm in faith even when everything around you tries to shake you? Because, my friend, if you do not give up, if you do not turn back, if you hold on just a little while longer, you will step into the promise. You will see the fulfillment. You will witness the breakthrough. And when that moment comes, you will look back at every battle, every tear, every struggle, and you will understand that it was all worth it. You will see that God was working all things together for your good. And you will lift your hands and say, Lord, you were faithful. Lord, you never left me. Lord, you kept every promise. Because He is not a man that He should lie. If He said it, He will do it. If He promised it, He will bring it to pass. So stand firm, hold on, keep believing, because you are closer than you think. And when the appointed time comes, nothing in heaven or on earth will be able to stop what God is about to do in your life.